So I'm going to grill you a little bit more. So what types of ERISA litigation have you been involved in? Like when are you called in usually?
Well, it's across the board. Right now, I'm working on a case that's kind of interesting. It involves retirement benefits, health retirement benefits for coal miners. And so it's an interesting case, and I can't discuss the specifics of it. But what they're doing is they're getting me to discuss the concept of when and how people can. What had happened is over time they had promised these people retiree medical. So after you retire for the rest of your life, you're going to get health care. And the analysis is when and how can you cut those back or eliminate those completely? Because can companies promise something forever? Well, they really can't. They have to. There's economics involved and all this other stuff. So that's an example. I've got another case right now that's really kind of interesting because the client is a person who invested retirement plan money in a partnership. And what happened was the money, whenever you invest like that, you do it through a brokerage house. So there's a brokerage house, and I'm not going to mention what name it was, but the brokerage house goes out and buys the interest and invests in that interest. And when money comes out, they cash the checks and so on and so forth. What happened was the brokerage house decided we're not going to let people do these kinds of investments anymore because it's too much work for us, and we don't want to do it. So they told us, you got 2 years to get rid of this thing, and if you don't, we're just going to give it back to you. And so that's what they did. They literally gave it back to the client because the client couldn't find a new place to park it. And ultimately what happened is they gave the client a 1099 saying it's a taxable distribution. Big number. I mean, it's 7 figures. So they were a little bit more than peeved. And so I'm going through the process to explain when is it appropriate for a brokerage that's handling investments for a retirement plan to take these kinds of actions where they can just dump it back on the employer. And we're arguing that they can't. They have to do it within the parameters of the business world and how they do these things. And it's much more complicated than just saying, here, you take it, because you can't hand someone a partnership interest. It's not tangible. It's documented, and so there's documentation of that, but it's not physically done that way. It's literally done. I'm giving it to you and I'm signing everything over, and here are all the documents that do so.